Welcome back, and continuing with our exploration of deep order mathematics, which I had begun yesterday. And yesterday we arrived at basically three functions. We call them sustainability, which we posited was a function of the mental orientation leading. We had a function of entropy, which we posited was basically a function of the vital orientation leading, and we had stagnation, which was a function of the physical orientation leading. But if you want to be a little more precise, then really there are two sides to the states: mental, vital, and physical. There's a positive side and there's a negative side. And sustainability is really a function of the positive mental orientation leading. So wherever there's a negative mental orientation to contrast it, so if we have a reality of the mental negative orientation, what that's going to really create is a set of structures that are independent and that cannot integrate, and basically one structure, whether it's of thought or of ideas, considering itself to be the best and only structure, and all others as being structures created in error. And so there's a basic reality of fragmentation that's created. So where we have the negative mental orientation leading, what we really have is a reality of fragmentation. Now similarly, when we think about entropy, what we really are suggesting here that it is a function of the negative vital leading, and by contrast, what is it that's created when the positive vital leads? So if we have a function where the positive vital is leading, then we can hypothesize that what's really being created is a foundation of very positive energy, and I'll just represent that by energy. And similarly, when we think about stagnation, then stagnation is really a function of the negative physical orientation leading. And by contrast, if we have the positive physical orientation leading, I would hypothesize that that creates a foundation of stability. So really what we have, in just summarizing this, and again being in the spirit of being a little more precise here, is that if we have, just summarizing, so stability can be thought of as a function of the positive physical orientation leading. By contrast, stagnation is a function of the negative physical orientation leading. We have energy, which is a function of the positive vital orientation leading. And by contrast, we have entropy, which is a function of the negative vital orientation leading. And finally, in this scenario, we have sustainability, which is a function of the mental positive orientation leading, and we have fragmentation, which is a function of the negative mental orientation leading. So what we can say is that each of these forces is active at any point in any organization. So the outcome of any circumstance or any kind of endeavor or any project, we can summarize that as being a function of basically these six forces here. So we have the physical positive leading, the physical negative leading, the vital positive leading, the vital negative leading, the mental positive leading, the mental negative leading. And if you wanted to depict this geometrically, we may say that there would be, say, two sets of forces. So we have the mental positive leading, and on the flip side we have the mental negative leading. We have the vital positive leading. On the flip side we have the vital negative leading. And then we have the physical positive leading, and we have the physical negative leading. And I would hypothesize that if we were to depict an arrow going around like this, then sustainability would really be most positive here and least positive over here. So the truer depiction graphically or geometrically of sustainability would be this situation where you have the mental positive leading that would create the most sustainable outcome. If you had the vital positive leading surrounded by these two, it would be also a positive outcome but less sustainable, and so on until you got down to this state here. And if we were to achieve a perfect balance between these six phases or directions, if you will, we would arrive at something, or we would experience something called a witness state. But in reality, it's usually going to be, we're going to be pulled in one direction or the other, and that's going to create the reality that we experience.